That you never heard before. Here they come again, wicked. Here we go again.
Ace Kennedy, my brother from another mother, what's happening?
What's good, bro?
Man, my camera's looking. All right, there we go. My camera got this weird angle on it for right now for some reason. Hey, man, what's good your way?
Bruh, finally, the album or the single On My Mind has been released. Boy,
exciting news. I already love the feedback already.
Yeah,
right? Lots of good feedback on it already, though. Love the feel people get from it, though, man. It's looking pretty good, though, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. Promotion is on the way. Already the Eagle is going. So we pushing this one, bro. And the fact that I'm so glad that people are able to hear. We've been sitting on this one for a while.
Yes.
And it's always good to collaborate with you. I mean, even though we collaborate all the time, but I'm saying to have it documented together is always a dope thing.
What's funny is that as much as we collaborate, we don't have very much. I'm thinking about this now. We probably have maybe
like four songs
together, right? That either you're on my song that made an album, but it's weird considering that's as features anyway, though the writing and everything like that aside, like we collaborate on pretty much every song. And that is interesting though. Only about four, because I think that on the last whole Baylor, we didn't have a single song on the Baylor together.
No, because we was joking about it, saying my price was too high.
Yeah.
So, but that was because we just been working, man. I mean, you know, it's one of those things like when we're both in artist mode and working at the exact same time. It's not a slight. It's just we're working. So I mean, but this one was I think the feedback that I got from you when you first heard it was like, yo, and I was like, man, I got to get you to write a verse. And so it was that. But yes, Brittany, it is available on all streaming services: Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Napster.
The price for my services have gone up after this one.
This is the one.
I'm gonna tell you the reason why, because this one was the one of those rare ones. Well, it happens on more on your projects than mine, but one of those rare ones where I actually get a verse where I rap and then get a verse that I wrote on there, though. So get some writing credentials on here. 2 ways, though, man. Price gone up.
Yeah. Now, this is the one. Like, this one passed the kid test. And I ain't just talking about my kids, because my kids don't look at me like a superstar. I barely make the cut. You know what I'm saying? I've got promoted to being Deuce's dad now. Or I'm Charlie's dad, or Layla's dad, or Carly's dad, Samaya's stepdad. Like, it's one of those things. Like, I'm not Ace or Mod. So for them to be like, yo, sticking in my head, it's one of those ones.
No intro music today. Let's hear it. You got it on cue?
You know I got it on cue.
All right. Okay, stop right there because I don't hear it.
What?
Stop right there because I don't hear it. It's not playing.
Bro, I don't know. we just gonna go without it then, because I don't change my stuff, bro. So
it is not playing, bro. But no, I think that it is pretty dope though, man, that it's out. I think that the crazy part about it, man, is that I haven't even I only listened to it on YouTube, so I got to go ahead and pull it on up on the Spotify myself, though, man, and check it on that. But I've heard the song several times over to get into the process, though, man, that it's at, though, man. So Real dope. So shout out to everybody who's already checked it on out. I would love to hear the feedback on the podcast page, on the personal page, on the Ace page, though, man. So yeah, I love it, but I'm biased though. So hey, I admit it.
Yeah. Yo, man, by chance, did you catch that Soul Train Awards past the mic?
Okay, so I did. Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I thought that it was fire.
Yeah, it was interesting to me because it felt like Genuine was the only one that was like singing just off of an instrumental, and I think that was because he was doing the intro and everything on top of it.
I thought Genuine sounded great. I was like, whoa, yeah, I was blown away because he sounded the cleanest to me.
Well, that's because he didn't have any. That's what I'm saying. He was the one that sang over just an instrumental. Everybody else sang over their songs. Yeah. And I think that was just, the way they had to do it for the mix of it. But yeah,
I get that. And I think that I agree though. I don't think that we got a chance to talk about that because I didn't know if you had even caught that, but I thought that the thing that I loved about that the most, and my favorite part of the whole thing was the things you do makes me keep running to you. And then when I heard her do her part, and then Missy still came through with the flow, that was probably my favorite part of the whole entire thing, though, man. But I thought that it was fire, though, man, that they were able to bring back the old 90s R&B vibes, though, man. And now I did see that because I got a question for you that I wanted to ask you about it.
What's up?
Okay. What is it, do you think? Because I still, when we're going to talk about the Earth, Wind, and Fire, Isley Brothers, here in a little bit, right? But I just remember Earth, Wind, and Fire, Isley Brothers, them having, well, the Isley Brothers, they spanned, they did our parents, our grandparents, and we caught Isley Brother music through R. Kelly, Mr. Biggs, and all that. So we caught some of them, but I'm just kind of wondering though, even still, the 60s Motown sound has its core, right? Set of people who are just followers of that old school 60s, 70s. And then, disco was kind of short-lived, but you still have some a lot of great sounds were created from disco. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the first hip-hop breaks were off of disco songs and everything like that. So disco aside, because I don't think the disco had as huge of a following, but it seems to have a cult following. 80s come along, right? And timeline-wise, I think that, you had Michael Jackson that was coming on the scene, and you had that real synthy sound that was prevalent to the 80s. And I think a lot of the hardcore rock and roll bands and stuff like that was from the 80s. And then the 90s comes around, right? And 90s R&B in particular, and 90s hip-hop in particular was very, oh my gosh, Chantel, oh, shout out to you. Thank you for checking in. And Brittany Road, appreciate it as always. But my question for you is this. I don't think that people have ever gotten over or gotten away from 90s R&B, very much the way that I don't think that people have ever moved away from Earth, Wind, and Fire. But I there's a lot of forgettable R&B music that comes out these days. So my question for you as the R&B business analyst, what exactly is it that made 90s R&B so much of something that people can't let go? And what is it about R&B today that doesn't have that same kind of feel to it?
We talk about this all the time. It just has to do with the generation. The generation in this particular time, they want everything up front. We're used to seeing episodic series to where you get one episode per week. Whereas a lot of these kids now, they like to stream and they like to watch Netflix because the whole series is there and they can binge it. And so the thing is that with the way the quantity of projects that come out on a basis now that everybody has access to drop music, it's different. Like back when we were coming up, it was maybe one or two albums, quotable albums that would come out on that Tuesday. And so you're actively anticipating that particular project. Whereas now you could get 7, 8, 9, 10 artists dropping a project on any given day. And that's just what it is. So I just think with the amount of music that's available, people just consume it so quickly that it's you don't digest it on a longer wave. So those people that are still following Earth, Wind and Fire, the Isley Brothers, all of the 90s R&B that you mentioned, those are from our generation of people who hold on to those projects.
But then here's the question for you though, right? So given that being the case though, right? I think that now it's so much easier for the R&B artists to come out of nowhere, to put out music. It's so easy. We just streamed some music. A lot of people wouldn't have heard of her. There's people who we know every day. We got 4,000, 5,000 Facebook followers. Probably half of them have never even listened to any of our music before, right? Even though we are more accessible than any other time that people have put out music. But I'm wondering though, like, my question for you is that we are basically talking about the same thing. I think that the essence of R&B is love songs. So I guess what I'm wondering is that if we're talking about the same things, I know that it's a microwave society, but you think about it. You remember what's old dude who had the song? We had all the one-hit wonders in the 90s who came out of nowhere, but you know the dude who had the song and every time I see your face, you make me wanna sing. And I forget his name, but I don't remember. It's one of the best R&B songs from the 90s, right? And then you also have like the Jesse Powells of the world, and then you have the Something for the People, who careers were very short-lived, and so that would be equivalent to a microwave, era for us, where you had those one-hit wonders. But their music was less accessible. So there are people who don't even know these songs like that from the 90s. I would think most lovers of R&B would. But I am just kind of taken aback in thinking about the fact that with music being so much more accessible for great music, there are some great R&B music, but it seems like it's fewer and far between these days, though.
Well, the person you was referring to was Rome. But here's the thing, though. If you notice, for our generation, we hadn't gotten to a point where we had basically had the single and the maxi singles were extinct. And because people were so focused on the album, and now singles and maxi singles, or AKA the EP, is now the standard. You know what I'm saying? People put out singles, let the single get hot, hope they sit on the other music. When the single get hot, then they drop the album with that single on there, and it boosts their numbers. And so, I mean, so the thing is that the game has changed. And so the old ways of doing stuff is just not here. I mean, and we're in that fine line of transitioning from that old style to what the new guys is doing.
So is it the same with other genres, right? Because think about this, all right? Like, I remember, and maybe I'm just thinking that my view of pop culture is from a hip hop R&B perspective, whereas I think that back in the day, the 90s, right, you were very much aware who Limp Bizkit was. You were very much aware of who all the rock bands were, even if you didn't necessarily listen to their music regularly, you knew, right? And so I'm just sitting here thinking, like, Green Day, for example. I think that you knew Green Day very Good Charlotte. There's a lot of other bands that were pop rock bands. But even the boy band phase, like, there are still boy bands now, I guess less prevalent. I mean, I think the K-pop guys are the ones who mainly do band type of group music now. But even that, though, I found that, there used to be like is there an equivalent to the Backstreet Boys today, or NSYNC today? I thought that was
it was One Direction for a
One
point.
Direction was the only
Jonas
one that
Brothers.
I knew of. Jonas Brothers, right? But I don't know, man.
And they still do music, but Nick Jonas kind of still does his solo thing, but they still have stuff together. Sarah went to a concert for them through Paparazzi. So
that's interesting, man. But listen, did you catch the Earth, Wind, and Fire Isley Brothers?
No.
Oh
I was busy this weekend, bro. Deuce had tournaments all weekend. So yeah, I was
oh my gosh.
And it's Easter weekend.
Ace Kennedy.
What's up?
This thing was immaculate, bro. It was listen, bro. It was layers to how cool this was, right? So let me lay it out for you. So the thing that I appreciated, so I am someone who, I was young. I wasn't even born when Earth, Wind, and Fire came out with Reasons. I wasn't even born when most of the Isley Brothers songs came out. This was years on my time. But this was also music that I remember my mom playing when I was cleaning up the house. And my version of cleaning up the house includes it. My version of cleaning up the house music also includes Jill Scott, Erykah Badu. When I'm cleaning up, that's what I put on. But they are in my rotation regularly. I listen to them regularly. So I think the thing that was tough was narrowing it down to 20 songs for someone who they asked them, how many albums do they have out? Earth, Wind, and Fire said, we got like 49 albums. I was like, wait a minute, 49 albums? They've been a group for 50 years and they have 49 albums, right? And then you think that the Isley Brothers have Shout, a Twist and Shout, and most people associate that with the Beatles, right? And so when they pulled out the Twist and Shout, you kind of look in the comments, and that's always one of the things that I'm looking at, comments. You forget the great songs and how vast the Isley Brothers catalog really is. And the thing that I appreciate the most is that they wrote almost all of their own music. So when you talk about cutting checks, these boys is getting that bread, right? Long money, generational kind of money. So Ron Isley stole the show. Clearly, the boy stole the show. He slides through, has the mink on, Frank Lucas style. He has a cool little pastel suit. He fresh, comes through with the cane still, right?
Then he had a gray beard.
Had the gray beard that had all the girls going crazy. Now listen, Ace Kennedy. I know you say you be tinting your grays out of your beard, bro. The way that everybody was reacting about this Ron Isley, though, man, you might have a whole nother segment of fans by you keeping them grays in there, bro, because they lost it.
I ain't doing it. I'm too young to be Ronald Isley, like 75 years old.
He is 79.
See,
to be
exactly. So he can get away with it.
Listen, this is the thing that I think is interesting, right? Because I think that we talked about it before, where when we were younger, I don't remember seeing very many people that I knew that made getting older look cool. Like I didn't know any cool 30-year-olds. I didn't know any cool 40-year-olds. And that includes my dad, that just made it seem like, oh, he's a fly. You might see Billy D. Williams. He was always a standard. Denzel. But as we got older, Denzel was getting old. So I set him to the side, right? But the boy Ron Isley was out here and just made me think, hey, as old as he is with the grades and everything, at 80 years old, basically, though, man, he was a fly 80-year-old dude out here, though, man. And I was just like, hey, yo, had the girls going crazy out here, though, man. I thought the biggest win, I don't know who won out of how you would call it. I just know the biggest winner was Ron Isley, though, because everybody was talking about how fly the boy was, though, man.
Yeah, that's what seemed to be tearing up social media about it. Because, like I said, I didn't even know about the verses, and I wouldn't have been able to mess with it anyway because it was so much going on. Now,
let me tell you what was interesting about it. The very interesting part about it is that Steve Harvey. Listen, man.
I told you to cut it out.
Hey, Steve Harvey. My dude Ace is having dog issues, and this is the reason why. This is the reason why I am not a pet owner on over here. But listen, I think that the thing that was interesting is, Ace, what's funny, bro, is Ron Bro, you forgot to mute your mic. So so I was sitting here thinking, like, bro, that's the reason why I'm glad that's the reason why I'm not a pet owner on over here, though, bro, because you forgot to mute your mic. But it's all
No,
good.
my mic was muted. Like I said, Charles, listen to what I'm telling you. The mic was muted. Something obviously is wrong with the board. So if you heard it, okay. But I'm saying it was muted.
Let me tell you this. Okay, so listen, Ace Kennedy, if you was hosting, let's say they did a versus, right? And they really had R. Kelly, right? They had R. Kelly versus Usher, right? R. Kelly versus Usher, or R. Kelly versus Teddy Riley. Let's say R. Kelly versus Teddy Riley. Somebody whose music brings nostalgia to you, right? The bulk of their stuff. You would kind of lose it if you were asked to host it, right? So in between songs, I'm sure you would be like, listen, man, I remember this, like this, that, and the other. Like you're setting it on up, right? I think that the part that drove a lot of people crazy was Steve Harvey's injecting himself into this verses and not necessarily making it about him, but also saying, hey, this is what this music means to me. And this is what I was doing when these songs came out. And he had these kind of stories. And I think that it was cool at first, but he did it like almost the whole time. And then everybody was like, bro, just shut it up already though, bro. And I can't knock him because hey, I could have done the same thing if you was hosting the verses with Biggie and Jay-Z or Biggie and Pac. You're gonna be talking like what this meant to you. So for him, I think Steve Harvey had a good time and couldn't nobody tell him nothing. But I think the vast majority of the folks are like, bro, if you don't shut up already.
I'm sure it was, man. And the thing is that the more talking, that means less music. And people was probably just excited about these iconic artists and what they were capable of doing.
Yeah, I think that the thing that was dope, the playlist. I mean, like I said, there were, if you're a diehard Earth, Wind, and Fire fans, there were songs that they left off. And I think that they tried to do the most popular songs though. So they played The Reasons, they played Isley Brothers play did they play For the Love of You?
Did they do September?
Yes.
How long?
They only did it just a couple minutes, like a minute and a half or whatever.
Like 19 minutes long.
Oh my gosh, yeah. They said that they used to just do a whole jam session and they would just play, and some of their songs are actually 15-minute long songs that they have to then go through and edit and chop on up to shorten it down to radio version. But a lot of their songs are very long songs, though, bro. But me personally, I'm more biased to the Isley Brothers, man, because I've always been a fan of. While I know my man's from Earth, Wind, and Fire hit that high falsetto all the time, I've always been a fan of Ronald Isley's voice, the silky smoothness of his tone. So I'm more biased toward the Isley Brothers, though, man.
It's interesting because I'm sure there's a lot of people that weren't even introduced to Ronald Isley until R. Kelly started working with him as Mr. Big.
I'm sure.
Yeah. And even still, people hearing the Between the Sheets beat on Biggie stuff and not understanding where that, you know what I'm saying? So
not just that. Today Was a Good Day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's I think that for most hip hop fans, they would know. But it's just the fact that, to your point though, right? If your family never put you on to listening to 60s music, 70s music, right? And you just came on the scene just around Babyface and Keith Sweat and them in the 80s, then yeah, I can see why you wouldn't be introduced to Ronald Isley until R. Kelly, though, man. And so, but it was fire. Like I said, I think that it was very easily a top. Maybe it's top 5. It's one of the top 5 verses. I still think that the ones that I've enjoyed the most personally. T-Pain, Lil Jon was very entertaining. Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, just because I love me some them. This one, Beanie Man them is definitely top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're supposed to have a rematch, right?
Who?
On Versus. If you look at their schedule for the year, they have a rematch that's scheduled. I got a feeling it's gonna be Luda and Nelly, bro.
I don't think so.
They're supposed to be who else would you now, unless you did Teddy Riley and Babyface, which I love. Given the technical issues on both of them, those are the only ones that I think that they could do a rematch on, a redo. And those are the only ones who would have, if they said we're going to do brand new songs that we didn't play, those are the two that have the catalog to do that. Who would you see as a rematch?
Like you said, Babyface and Teddy Riley. Because I think then they would be able to perform from a stage and have a different audio crew so that Teddy Riley won't have his issues, and then maybe Babyface can have like some of the people that he wrote for come and collab with him and sing. Like that could be a dope thing. But because I mean, they had that one Versus Presents where D'Angelo didn't really verse anybody; he just had people come sing with him.
Yeah.
So, and you know, then they get picked up by Triller or something.
They have. I don't know if they are on Triller. I don't know what the relationship is with it, but yes. But they were previously on Apple Music and a couple other little spots where you'd be able to stream it though. So yeah, that's fire. Also happening this past weekend, man. DMX back in the hospital. But this time for drug overdose, man. They said this boy was on life support, and I think that it happened so fast, man, that probably like on either Friday or Saturday, I'm in the car and I hear them talk. The first thing I notice is that I'm looking on Instagram, and just casually looking on Instagram, and I'm seeing a lot of people posting pictures with them and DMX. And I'm thinking like, oh, is it DMX birthday or something? Turn on the radio, and they're saying DMX is in the hospital from a drug overdose. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, bruh, DMX just got out of jail not that long ago. And he had the verses, you know what I'm saying? He looked pretty straight. Dog, how surprised were you?
I wouldn't say he looked straight. I definitely wouldn't say that.
He looked heavy.
Yeah, but not just like, it's a difference in being heavy and then heavy sloppy. And so he was borderline sloppy with the head. Like, I'm not talking about his weight as far as that making him look bad. I'm just talking about his face. He didn't look healthy, in my opinion. But yeah, it wasn't surprising because unfortunately, these are things that he's been struggling with for a long time. I mean, it's one of those things, like, think about it like this, right? When Tiger first got into the car accident, what was everybody's first thought?
The boys on that stuff.
Right. So the thing is that I don't think a lot of people, when they heard he was in the hospital, maybe thought that was from a car accident or something. They probably immediately thinking something to do with drugs. And I don't wish that demon on anybody. And I really want him to recover, and I want him to get the help that he needs. But unfortunately, it's one of those things, like the person has to want the help. And then they have to have the people that's going to keep them accountable, because if you keep going to these enablers, that's just what you're going to run back into, that same thing. So, man, I hate to see one of our legends, going through something like this.
The bad part about it though, man, here is that I think the thing that's just been crazy to me is that DMX has literally used heavy drugs his whole life. I think that he talked about the time that he was like 14 or 16 years old, and one of his then mentors, a person who kind of put him on, laced his blunt with some crack, basically. So he's sitting here smoking crack, thinking that it was just, just some weed or whatever, at 14, 16 years old. And then to think about it, he was like, yo, why would you, if you hear the story, I mean, it'll give you chill bumps, because I think that he talked about like, yo, I love this dude. I looked up to the dude. Like, why would you do that to somebody who look at you in that light though? So, So it's unfortunate that he's been struggling with this his entire life. Like I've never not known for DMX to not like unfortunately, maybe it has happened. I don't care. I don't know his business that intimately or whatever, but I don't remember a time where people would just talk. Oh, X has been straight and clean for X number of years or whatever.
Right.
And I've never seen X come out and just how like Demi Lovato had her overdose case, and she came out and basically said, "Oh, I feel like I saw something where she said I feel like I died." And in order for me to die, I feel alive, but I feel like I have to die in order for that to happen, though, man. I don't hear that kind of stuff from X, though, man. So it is interesting that you say that, though, man, that it's like why you want to make sure that he is accountable for his own actions. You also have to think about the enablers that are surrounding him who is aware of his history with that, though, man. So
right. And just
it's unfortunate.
Do what he asked him to do, and he's not strong enough by himself, obviously, to say no. So, and then he's still X. So it's one of those things like you still gonna have those yes men, and that's just unfortunate. Because unfortunately, some people probably feel like, well, if I don't give it to him, he's just gonna get it from somewhere else.
Man, I think that it's I listen. I'm not gonna at all assume and talk like I am the expert on drug abuse, because it is another one of those things that I have no idea about. While I'm sure everybody has family members who have used drugs and have been abusive to drugs and everything like that, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert, but it does hurt to see somebody who this happens and then you're not that surprised by it, though, right? So it's crazy, man. Very crazy. Very, very, very unfortunate, though.
Well, that ain't the only drug use thing that we heard about this weekend.
What's else?
Allegedly, Paul Pierce got fired from ESPN for some videos that he posted of him having an incredible time with some young ladies, some young men partaking in adult things, and the mouse didn't seem to like that too much.
Ace Kennedy,
what's up?
I totally understand that if in where he's at, I believe he's in LA or whatever he is, I understand that marijuana is legal in half the states now in the United States, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that your job is going to be cool with you posting videos of you blowing that herbal essence all in your videos like that. And not just that, he had the strippers. Listen, this boy Paul Pierce is out here having the time of his life. Extra crispy hairline, so he was celebrating something the way he was crispy on that. Just got that cut done. He had the girls going. He had the shots going. And listen, I'm just sitting here thinking like, listen, Paul Pierce, you are having a good time. Why do you feel the need to let everybody else know that you're having this good time? You could have invited them if you wanted them to.
It's for the gram, bro.
It felt very much like the very rapper thing to do, right? Yeah. Like that's what I would see a rapper doing, is basically saying, oh, you know what, man, I got these girls taking it off on over here. We over here blowing that presidential, whatever that means. We blowing that Reggie Bush, whatever that, I don't know the terms, but he also got the shots. It looked like a rap video in there, Paul Pierce. He is living his life, and the boy went ahead and got fired on that. Man, listen.
Here's my take on it, bro. I think Paul Pierce knew the writing was on the wall. I just don't think that he honestly put this out there with the intent like, I'm gonna be straight, like my job ain't gonna say nothing. He worked for Disney. He knows how the mouse operates. I mean, Gina Carano got fired for posting tweets. So what makes you think a video with all of the things that Disney doesn't show in their shows have in it? So Disney actually came out and said he wouldn't have got fired if he was just in the video and not him personally showing the stuff.
Listen, man. I Paul Pierce as an analyst, getting fired. And there's so many levels to why this is interesting because as a paid analyst, your job is to speak on from an analytical perspective about sports, and if this comes up, you give your opinion of it. So I think that it is just interesting when I think about Paul Pierce getting fired. For some reason, this isn't the thing that gets me the most. The thing that I think about is how Paul Pierce seems to have never gotten over getting these LeBron James whippings and these Miami Heat whippings and everything, bro. Because when he basically said when he said that he had a better career than Dwayne Wade, right? And then when Jalen Rose laid out these facts on him, and you see this boy Paul Pierce go in this daze, bro, and he seemed like Jalen Rose was like, hey, he was a scoring, he's a leading scorer, got the scoring title. You never got that. He was a 3-time All-NBA, 4-time All-NBA. To your 1 time, he was like he made all defense team 3 times. You never done that before. And you see Paul Pierce, he just looked like he over there blowing that cush in because he looked like he is just hot. And then I laugh when I think about how his perspective of LeBron James, it basically he made it seem like, oh yeah, the LeBron James y'all see is because of me and the whippings that I put on him. I said, dog, Paul Pierce is something else, man, and I die laughing. That's what I think about Paul Pierce, the analyst, though, man. I don't know who gets the worst comments, him or Kendrick Perkins, bro.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I don't like Chris Webber when he's doing live in NBA.
Me neither. I love him in the studio. I hate his live calls, bro.
Oh my gosh, I hate it. But no. Here's the thing. I like Paul Pierce. He was actually one of the people that took a picture with the fam.
Was he high?
Nah, he was straight. He was playing for the Clippers at the time. But the thing is that one of the things that you brought up that I wanted to comment on is him being the analyst, right? So imagine one of the young players or any one of the players that happen to have a weekend, like when they talk about James Harden or when they talk about Lou Wings or when they talk about your boy Irvin doing all of their crazy stuff. How are you supposed to comment on that? And you got these videos out. But it seemed like he got something else lined up, just the way that he was talking, though.
Listen, bro, he better have a podcast that's similar to Matt Barnes' podcast. Yes, where you can say whatever you want to say. It's unfiltered. He better have something with Barstool, bro, where he can just do whatever he want to do, though, man, because I don't know, man. I got to be honest with you. I think that Paul Pierce was the comedic relief, and he didn't realize it. I think that I don't know that Paul Pierce actually thought that people were laughing at him. I thought that he just thought, hey, I'm just doing me and I'm speaking my truth. But I don't think that he ever realized that people laughed at that how foolish sometimes he would sound, bro.
I wonder how many people that were ESPN analysts actually text him like, bro, what are you doing?
I get that too, man. I don't know, man. It was very surprising because you would think, dog, you old, bro. Like, you come on, man. Like you
he's 43, he only 3 years older than us.
Yeah, but listen, but we don't do that. But not to say that everybody should be like us. What I'm saying is that, okay, if I saw 2 Chainz doing it, bro, that would be different, right? If I saw Rick Ross doing it, that would be different, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe he looked at what Tory Lanez was doing, was like, yo, we missing this, so let me bring it back.
Listen, man, if I saw Wiz Khalifa has plenty of videos of him smoking weed. He has, I understand, but listen.
And he has his own, You know, he
Yes,
gets his
yes.
own
He has his
flavors.
cannabis line, so he got his own papers or whatever. But listen, but if I saw LeBron James doing it, bro, if I saw Michael Jordan doing it, bro, they would be trying to take the team from him. They would be like, yeah, you don't need the Hornets, bro.
Yeah.
That's my point, though. It's like, it's not that what he did was wrong. It's just like, what are you thinking, bro? That's really it.
I mean, this is like me. I work for the government, and so even Oklahoma is one of those states where you can, but I can't because I'm still a federal employee. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like it's crazy, bro.
Hey, so listen, man. Other basketball news. Shout out to the entire 254. Dill, did you watch the game last night? Baylor versus Gonzaga.
Did not.
Oh my God, what are you doing, dog? What? Ace Kennedy, listen, I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you.
Okay.
I thought that the Gonzaga UCLA was a better game in terms of the up and downness, the epic endings, everything like that, right? But bruh, within the first 2 minutes of the game, I said Baylor's about to wash these boys, though, bro. And I think that the thing that's crazy to me about it is that Baylor just what I thought would be the concern that I had with Gonzaga coming right after this UCLA game, and you having this emotional high, the emotional roller coaster of a win. It's one of those shots that's going to be an all-time shot. Everything about it was epic. But that wasn't even the final game. That wasn't the championship. So now you gotta double up on that, right? You gotta circle back and then win the whole thing. And I thought that Baylor was just sitting there. They handled their business against Houston, and Baylor was just waiting, though, bro. So the first 2-3 minutes of the game, I was like, yo, Baylor just had more hoopers. Right now, oddly enough, everybody always talked that Gonzaga has like 5 to 6 guys on their team that are potential NBA players, right? And they've only talked about the Baylor guards, the 2 to 3 guards that they have, though, bro. But listen, man, I'm watching the game. It didn't take me long at all for me to look and see that this was just, everybody was thinking like the cat with the mustache, Timmy, for Gonzaga. Everybody was looking like nobody's been able to match up with him right yet. And they were like, what are they going to do with him? And I'm just sitting here thinking like that Baylor, their guards were so much faster, so much more skilled, bro, that I was just like, yo, I thought I'm if anything, I thought that Baylor would be a blowout to where Baylor would always have a 20-point win. They came within 9, a couple spots. But I thought Baylor was going to it didn't take me 3 minutes for me to see that Baylor guards are just way better.
Yeah, I heard the game was like that where, Gonzaga just, when they played that game against UCLA, they was just spent and they just didn't have any energy out there.
Listen, I think that here's a part that I think that's interesting, bro, because, okay, so the draft is coming up, right? I don't know. Did I lose you? I'm back.
No, I'm here.
Okay. So look, the draft is back, right? I mean, the draft is coming on up. And Gonzaga has Jalen Suggs, who everybody says is going to be a no-brainer number 2 pick. The dude Crispus, I think he's their best shooter, right? They say he's going to be a first-round pick also. And then they're sending Dog, listen, bro. I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I looked at Jalen Suggs, bro, and I just thought, bro, he looks regular. Like, I understand he made the big shot. I guess I've only seen him play one other game. And the problem that I have, right, is when I see someone who's like a freshman and I don't see that they're just, every time I think of a freshman who they say is a dominant freshman, where it looks clear, was when I saw Melo, right? When I saw Melo play as a freshman, He looked so much better than everybody else, and Melo made it look so easy. And when I saw how them boys was cooking Jalen Suggs, and he got into foul trouble very early because I think he couldn't keep up with the foot speed of them Baylor dudes, though, bro. So I thought he looked regular, and now it made me think that Jalen Suggs had this aura about him, and they put him on display to be like, you know what, man, maybe he's just a guy. He's an NBA player, but he doesn't. Maybe he's not like superstar like that, bro.
So are you saying that the analysts had something to say about him that might have changed what people think about him?
I don't know because he did average about, well, no, he did score about 20 some points in the game. And so granted, when he scored his 20 something points, were the highest that he's scored so far. And so I think that when you look at it on paper, you think, oh, okay, he balled out. But I think that what you miss is that most of his points came in the second half. That's fine, but you were already down. And so a lot of those points that he got were not charity points, but they were, it was never where when I looked at him and I thought, oh, he is just so skilled that he could just get his shot up on anybody. He was getting shots that they let him take.
Did Stephen A comment on it?
I don't know. I didn't watch first. I didn't watch any shows today.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this. The thing that there was this dude, there was this other light-skinned dude, which is another thing too, because half of Gonzaga team, all light-skinned dudes, they all look like they got the same mom and daddy. But one of the dudes, they kept putting him on the screen, and they were setting him up. They was like, oh, come set the screen. Whoever had the ball, they would go set the pick. Well, whoever that guy was guarding, they would set the pick so that he would have to guard whoever the ball handler was. And they was cooking this dude. I'm talking about Ace. They was cooking this dude like it is like somebody was having a backyard grill, bro. And everybody was invited because they was doing this boy in. And listen, I'm pretty sure this dude may have gotten maybe 20 points scored on him total from everybody because they kept setting him up in the screen. But I guess the players that I just thought, because I would, me, I'm big on lists. So I'm looking and I'm thinking like I'm looking at the draft and I've been trying to see who are the superstar players that are going to come into the league. And I don't see any. And so when they talk about Cade Cunningham and they talk about Jalen Suggs, they make it seem like these dudes are equal 1 and 2. And I'm looking at, I saw Cade Cunningham play some games where he did all right. You know what I'm saying? He hooped up Texas, put up some numbers against us, man, and even put up some numbers against Baylor. But I guess I was just expecting more though, bro. And I saw him as just a guy.
But are these players clearly better than everybody else in college, though?
Supposedly. And so this is the thing. What I think is the issue, not necessarily an issue, but I think that what happens is that, when you do those ESPN top 100 recruits, right? And you say, oh, this guy's a 5-star recruit and he may be the best in his state, right? He may have been, I think that Jalen Suggs was Mr. Basketball and Mr. Football of Minnesota or Wisconsin. And so right out of high school, they had him rated high. Like, yeah, he is a top 10 prospect. The same with Cade Cunningham, right? They said that he was a prospect. Kentucky has this cat, Brandon Boston, who played at Sierra Canyon with LeBron's son. He's from Norcross. He actually hooped at Norcross, moved out to, California, played at Sierra Canyon. Them boys won a state championship, and they was like, "Oh yeah, he is a future lottery pick." Goes out to Kentucky, and I think he probably scores like 9-10 points a game, and he probably still could get drafted, but first round pick, like they made it seem, it's like nah. And so I think that a lot of this particular season, though, bro, maybe because of COVID, maybe the differences, it just seemed to kind of expose a lot of these players who they thought were just no-brain picks, though, bro.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, my mom was asking me, she was like, I just don't understand how somebody could necessarily win a whole, win all out or whatever, and then lose it at the end. I said, well, that's because any team is beatable. Like, it's the tournament.
Well, let me tell you what I think. And that is a good point. I'm gonna tell you what I think. I think personally that Gonzaga played tough early on in the season, right? So they played against some pretty good teams because, like I said, I think that Gonzaga beat Oklahoma State. I think they may have beat Kansas early on, right? And I think that what I believe, bro, is that they played mostly their conference, and their conference was weak this year. I think they usually have like St. Mary's usually in their conference. They have a couple of other teams who are usually kind of okay. Well, I think that their conference was down, and they played against some weaker competition going toward the latter parts of the season. And I think that what happened, though, bro, is that Baylor, on the other hand, played in the Big 12. And while Texas lost early in the tournament and Shaka Smart got out of Dodge, right? And while Kansas was kind of down, it's still Kansas, right? You're still playing against that higher level competition. And I think that what happened, though, bro, was that Baylor especially, I think that they stopped playing ball or stopped playing the regular schedule for like 3 weeks because of COVID. So their guys were rested. They jumped back in. And so I think that Gonzaga peaked real early on, bro. And I think that especially after that UCLA game, they just didn't have that extra little momentum. Meanwhile, though, I think that Baylor just came at the right time because their legs were fresher because they had some time off and they played a tougher schedule, tougher opponents. And I think that it just made them boys more battle tested, though, man. Gonzaga just looked weak, though, man. I mean, that's going to sound crazy because some of these guys are 18 and 19 years old, but Baylor seems to have like a bunch of guys who are like 21-year-old. They got young men on their team, though, man. And it just their team just looked more physical, though, bro.
Let me ask you this. So looking at how the tournament is for the college basketball, do you see what would you think about the NBA doing something like versus what they do now for the championship?
Tournament style. I don't, so then you kind of get into how do you do it, right? Because if you do it that way, then more than half of the East won't make it into the playoffs, right? Because the West here.
No. I'm just saying, like, say, I'm just spitballing. Say like how they are setting up now to where they have 8 teams that make the playoffs and then 9 and 10 for the buy-in or the play-in or whatever, right? So that's the tournament, East and West, and then whoever comes out of that play each other for the championship.
I don't get that. That's how is that different from what they do today?
Because they do the 7 games. I'm not talking about doing like
7. No, I like a 7-game series.
Okay.
Yeah, I like a 7-game series because to me, it takes luck out of it. Win because you're the better team.
So why can't you be the better team on that day?
On that day, right? On that day, you were the better team. But if you're good, you should be able to beat a team 4 times. I like the idea. I like personally more than before they were 5-game series, right? And I like the move to 7 across the board. I mean, it was a money move more than anything because now you get more games on TV. And so the series are longer. So you got, the ratings are higher because now you're playing longer. So I respect that. So I like 5 over 7. But I think that I think that you shouldn't have to rely on just a lucky shot in one game or one hot streak. Do it 4 times. Just me personally, though.
That's gonna be my question of the day for tomorrow.
Listen, back on speaking of, but back to the draft, right? Here's one thing I think that's interesting. So to me, one of the things that I think that this did, it wouldn't surprise me personally if some of those guys who opted to go to the G League, right? It wouldn't surprise me that right out the gate that those guys are better than the guys who went to college. So the Cade Cunninghams, Jalen Suggs, like it wouldn't surprise me if Jalen Green, who opted to go straight to the G League, if he has a better rookie season. There's probably 4 guys who are expected to be first-round draft picks who played in the bubble. So they played against grown men. They played against, former NBA players who were looking to get, trying to make rosters and everything. Somebody who is playing ball for a living to pay the mortgage. It just wouldn't surprise me that if those guys thrived under those conditions, that I would think that they're more prepared because they had a year of professional training versus the people who went to college. But there are probably about 3 or 4 guys that I would say that probably will play better than those first 5 draft picks, though.
I get that.
Yeah.
I told you once Texas got out, bro, I stopped paying attention.
No, I've been, so this is the thing that I've been interested in, man, is that so like there are players that I've been, that I follow just because I want to see, like, some of these guys when I'm watching Ball is Life and I'm watching their mixtapes. I've been watching some of these guys since they was in 10th grade, 11th grade. Like, I've been catching Cade Cunningham since he was in 11th grade and trying to see, okay, well, what is it going to look like? Especially when I start to see when they talk about when somebody's in 9th grade and they see them as a potential lottery pick. I'm thinking like, well, let me just follow along and see. It's kind of like with football. Like, I've been following Lamar Jackson. I'm a fan of Lamar Jackson, but I've been following Lamar Jackson since he was like in 10th grade, bro. So when the first time I saw some video of him on Instagram, bro, and YouTube. So when I'm watching where some of those players landed. Because like the kid from UCLA, right? He has a weird name, Sunjanky or something like that. But like I saw his tape. He was one of those high school kids that they were talking about could be potential NBA, and he wound up going to Kentucky, transfers from Kentucky to UCLA. And so while people hadn't heard of him until the tournament, I've been watching him and seeing him ball out for quite some time. So I knew he was capable of it. So I was just waiting to see when it would actually surface, though. But then there are certain guys who they say are that good, and then they don't ever show it. So, it's interesting to see, though, man. I guess I'm invested, though, man, at this point.
Yeah, you are. Seems like you could be the agent.
Hey, man, holla at your boy, though, man. Slash Brothers Sports Agency.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's a Tuesday. What you got going on for a week?
Man, I got a writing session tomorrow. Deuce has practice, and then he has tournament this weekend. And then other than that, man, I'm just trying to get some rest, bro. It's been a long 2 weeks.
Man, Juzang, that's what I'm talking about. Golly. This is the crazy part, though. So we out here in Atlanta are in our full swing of pollen season out here, though, bro. Pollen took me out today, though, bro. I felt like a complete sissy, man. I wound up going out earlier, slid out to the mall, and it's like I got my truck, man. I want to go ahead and put my sunroof open and everything. I'm out here killing it, listening to some beats and everything like that. Got some ideas for songs. Like, I wound up coming back to the house, man, and my eyes been looking about like this ever since then, though, bro. Eyes tight, itchy. I mean, this has been the worst. Came home, I was like, man, you know what? I had to go ahead and lay it down. And it was about 80 degrees. Beautiful day. I couldn't get out there and enjoy it, though, man. And that's after taking allergy medicine, though, bro. So I think that this week we're supposed to get some rain, wash some of that away, and then I think I'll be straight and back at it for this weekend or next week. That'll be cool. Enjoy the outdoor more, though, man.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Hey, man, on that note, man, let's get this music going. Let's get on out of here, man. Get them home.
All right, man, we're going to try this one more time. Here we go.
Okay. You're now rocking with the very best. Ace Kennedy, Charlie Venus. Check this out.
When I saw you, it was more than a glimpse. Could have told me we're the only ones here.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Let's go.
And when I walked in, your light was so bright. I couldn't keep my eyes off you all night. You were killing them heels, you was rocking them jeans. Looked on the floor, you were doing your thing. Said you were trying, come and hang out with me. You and your girls come to VIP. When I left your love, you were on my mind. When I then you were on my mind. I was not just and you were on my mind. When I got home, you were on my mind. Hope I see you again, you were on my mind. Told my boys you were on my mind. The way she moved around in the club, I had to follow. So never mind shots, I'm buying the whole bottle. She's a quarter out of time, and I'm feeling her vibe. And she a whole vibe. So let me kick some game if you ready, then we can get it. Champagne sipping, but don't you forget the digits.
Nah, don't forget about that.
Gotta admit it, can't wait another minute. That's when I walked in, she was looking fine to death. And me, I'm on the floor with my same two-step. So I hit her with that line, what's your name, what's your sign? Girl, it ain't no biggie, cause I know it matches mine. She's a Pisces, a Leo, a Gemini, a Scorpio. When I left the club, you were on my mind. Then you were on my mind. I was not just and you were on my mind. When I got home, you were on my mind. Hope I see you again, you were on my mind. Told my boys you were on my mind.
Look, La mama in my ear and she's slurring on her words, telling me that she wanna take me back to the verb. She said she a freak when she got any because the girl a freak too when she relax your mind and let your conscience rest. Sitting now rolling with the boys from that XX. La mama, I can upgrade you a cheat code. Yes, I'm trying to make you my little trinity, my neo flex. Jolly in the hot room, ow, wow. Always with them kicks, ow, cause you the baddest chick up in this spot. And I'm feeling like the mama, how I'm shooting my shot. Yeah, that do say, gotta move it loosely. Talking about excuse me, what's you saying when you're talking about your vibes, you feeling your thighs. Oh, you got cakes, oh, you fine. I like that.